Hello. Happy evening. This is the first of the new schedule streams. So, um, I don't expect very many people to show up for maybe the first few days, since this is very different. But we can get going with some stuff. All right. First thing I want to do is go through and verify this all makes sense, and then I'll create a video for it. All right. Connecting connecting to Redis from Axum. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe what Redis is, connect to Redis in an Axum application, insert, and let's change that to retrieve. Insert and retrieve data from Redis. What is Redis? Redis is a fast in-memory key value store that servers often use to cache user and session data. If we need a way to store simple key value data and are okay with it not persisting across reboots, then Redis is a good choice. If you have Docker installed, we can set up a Redis instance locally with the command docker run --name Redis, daemon mode, Redis 7.2. For more information on running Redis in Docker, see the page on blah. Perhaps I should add a section about how a note on the data not persisting across reboots. Technically, Redis does have the ability to save its contents to disk for persistence. However, by default, it only does this once per minute and can be configured to persist much less often. Because of this, it is very possible. I guess it's very likely that some data may be out of date. After a server reboot. Okay. Connecting to Redis in Axum. We're going to start with a Hello World Axum and create a module to handle the connection to Redis and the queries. It can, Andrew, hello. Good evening. How late is it for you? It is currently 6 p.m., 6:09 p.m. for me. It can be nice to separate out the database logic into its own crate, so its own crate. So we'll be creating one called Redis Connect. We need something other than Redis, since there is a Redis crate and we don't want to confuse our crate for the Redis crate. So it's actually more important than that. Oh, 3 a.m. Wow. I suppose, did I wake you up? I'm sorry if I woke you up. It's one of the odd things about okay, if I would change my schedule, how many people is getting in the middle of the night? And I sometimes forget, oh yeah, there are other time zones. since there's a Redis crate and we cannot install a crate into a module with the same name. To create the crate, run the following from the root of the project: cargo new --lib redis connect. We'll need to update the cargo.toml file to be aware of this new crate. The root projects cargo.toml file to be aware of this new crate. Axum JSON version 010. Okay, so we have all that stuff. And then I added in, okay. I think I should put like a note. Maybe like a prerequisites. Perhaps like the Axum Hello World. We'll be starting, assuming you have an Axum Hello World created. Let's see. You don't have a basic Axum app set up, please follow the Hello World course, which I don't know if I can link to. I don't have like the ability to do that at that time. Right now, at least. Okay, so now, here we go. So we have that. Now we can set up the new Redis Connect crate to connect to Redis and create to connect to Redis. And create getter and setter functions to store and retrieve data from the Redis store. For this example, we're putting everything into the Redis Connect lib.rs file, which is that true? I don't think it's completely true. We'll need to add some crates to Redis Connect in order to connect to Redis and create a database pool. As of the writing this article, we aren't aware of any Redis-specific pools. We're using a generic pool called BB8 Redis, which is based on BB8. Okay, so we add you. Now we can create a pool and connect it. So okay, cargo add BB8 Redis. Now we can create a pool and connect to it with the Redis Connect lib.rs. Okay, so here is that. That's all good. This pool will allow us to get the connection to Redis later in our route handlers. However, as it is, we will only be able to have a single route handler connecting to Redis at the same time. If we have multiple requests to insert or get data, we'll end up waiting for this connection to become free. We can change that by adding more connections to the pool. We can do this by telling BB8 to set the minimum number of connections to maintain to something more than 1. Let's set the minimum number of connections to 5. Okay, so I do min idle and all that fun stuff. Okay, let's see. Setting up Axum state. You know what I realized? We have an unwrap in here. Let's remove the unwraps from this. Lastly, let's remove the unwraps and switch to, or maybe I could just probably completely so able to create a hello world in Rust. Be able to handle errors by either creating errors let's see. Like error. Okay. Okay, so I'll use error for error handling. So if we come back down to here, we can change you. Sharif, hello. I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing today? Okay, so I'm gonna want probably, we're just gonna go find this and change it here. All right, so this is probably Redis Connect U. Strange time for me to do stream. Am I okay? Yes, I'm okay. I did announce this at my earlier, oh, it was last week and then also this morning. But I had a job change situation, so I'm switched to a contractor role with my day job, which gives me a lot more time. So I'm no longer exhausted at the end of the day. So basically, I can get off work, go do some exercise, go, take care of some like chores, do some of that stuff, have dinner. And now I have like actually energy to do actually productive stuff. So I decided, okay, I'll, I cut down the morning stream by about an hour. So that's 7 a.m. Mountain Time to 8:30, and then I'm gonna do this one 6 to 7:30. So 2 1.5 hour streams, sort of capping, bookending the day, which is really nice. And I figure like this is gonna be a better time for those of us over here in America, and a much worse time for those of us not in America. Or I guess South America is fine. And in this like side of the world, the Americas, I suppose. Yeah. If you check out the schedule, I put up the schedule for when I'm going to be streaming this week. So it's going to be the mornings and then the evenings. Without tomorrow evening, I'm going to go to a meetup tomorrow. So I hope that explains it. Everything's fine. So do I think this will serve me better? Whatever. Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that makes me really happy is being able to work on this Axum course project. I do want it to like go through, and I want it to go through. I'm not gonna be like working on it 24/7 or like every single like chance. I'm basically working on it 3 hours a day right now. So it's a little bit better maybe than before, but I think the big thing that I've purchased for myself is de-stressing time. So even though like it feels like, oh man, I'm working in the evening, I'm actually spending more time before the evening stream now doing things that are like healthy for me mentally and physically, which is really awesome. That makes me happy. Okay, so that works there. Means you are upset because you're in. Let's see, what type of result are you? You're an error result, right? You are an error result. Perfect. So then I can make you like that. Yeah, and that should just work. Type system tells me that it's gonna work, so therefore it's gonna work. What can possibly go wrong with it? All right, so you get in here. I put you. Let's put you there, and then connect. I put you there. Okay. I think we're good to go there. And I didn't put anything crazy. No, I didn't. Okay. This will allow us to get the connection to Redis later in our route handlers. However, as it is, we will only be able to have a single route handler connecting to Redis at the same time. If we have multiple requests to insert or get the data, okay, so blah, blah, blah. Let's increase this to number 5, but we have an unwrap here. So, oh, I just want to remove the min idle. So that's great there. And so really it's same thing over here. All right. Twisted Seed, hello. How are you doing today? Good evening. I get to be like wrong on like twice a day on my times to like everybody. This is a late one indeed. It's not late for me. It's 6:26 for me right now. What's the time for you? I forget everybody's time zones. So uh that would be a cool little thing for me to like have like something to show like on a globe or somewhere where everybody is when they're chatting. I did some announcements earlier, but I guess if you're not in Discord, you probably didn't get the notice. 1:26 a.m. Okay. That's not the latest. GMT time zone. Okay. I am GMT minus I think I'm GMT minus 7. Something like that. Sharif, that is okay. That's the same time zone as Andrew. Uh 3:26 a.m. I hope I didn't wake you up. So I think what I'm going to be saying that a lot. Hey, I'm going to be attending. I'm still going to be doing morning streams. I'm doing morning streams. But yeah. Sorry about that. Maybe I should create some like a custom notification system instead. I don't like Twitch's notification system. They should really do like time zone specific where it's like okay, it notifies you but only like, if it's within your daily hours. That would be really nice. Let's see. Okay. In order to okay, then we do set up Axum state. In order to share the Redis connection pool with our route handlers, we'll create a centralized server state. Let's create a new file AppState, and we're going to create a state struct and put a Redis pool type in it. Okay, so we have that. That should all be fine and good. We can instantiate the state right before we create the router and then pass it in. Okay, so the biggest difference here is, and so I notice I don't think in here I show, let's, this is live, right? No. Let's show the entire of this file. That way you can see, okay, we're going to create the Redis connect. You can actually see where everything is. You can see where the result comes from and all that good stuff. Next, we need to update our create router function to take in the app state and make it available to the route handlers with the .withState method. Okay, so we do that. We take in app state, we pull in that, create the queries. Oh, and so like maybe okay, so we don't have that yet. We have AppState, use Axum routing, get post. We don't have that yet. Okay, we don't need save it or get it. Create router. Okay, we get you. Don't have you two. We have, okay, we have that. That's it. Stacking. Hello. How are you doing this evening? Create the queries. Before we create our route handlers, we need to create our queries to work with Redis. In this case, we'll create two queries, one for inserting into the Redis store and one to get what we inserted out. We'll put both of these queries into a queries.rs file in the Redis Connect module. Okay, so now we have queries, and then I think we'll just go straight to the version with result. Okay, and that should work. Drinking this beer and trying to keep it down. Well, I hope you do. That's not usually something you have to worry about. Or at least I have to worry about. Although I haven't drunk beer in I don't drink very often. I drink when I go out to like a meetup, I'll have a beer. That's usually when. I don't even have any in the house right now. Note that we're using generics for the values that we're storing into the Redis store. We're binding the value generic to the traits sync and send so they can be sent across threads safely since we're using the async await. We also need to bind value to two Redis args when inserting and from Redis value when retrieving. This way, these two queries are all we'll need when storing into Redis. Handling Redis errors. So we've already done this, so I don't need this anymore. Using Redis from a route handler. You bought a pumpkin beer and didn't realize it was a dark stout that tastes exactly like Guinness. For some reason, dark heavy. Oh yeah, I don't like Guinness. The only time that I've ever enjoyed a Guinness, like a dark Guinness beer, was when I made it into an ice cream. And it's very weird because when I describe the ice cream to people, it's sort of like one of those, okay, that sounds absolutely horrible. But it kind of tasted a little bit like root beer ice cream, which was really awesome. But the texture was like wet sand is the best I could describe it. It's so weird and yet so good. In our route handler, we can now get the Redis state out and use it along with data passed in to set and retrieve I guess from the store. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's begin with the insert. We'll create a route called save it and take in a JSON object that has a key and a value. Then we'll use our insert query function to store the key value pair into Redis. Thank you, Sharif. Come here to learn from the amazing Brooke Zerker. You will find here good educational materials. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and sorry for being so late for you, like the evening one. The VODs will be up, and I'll definitely be uploading this to YouTube. So if you can't make those, then that's probably the next best place. And then you can always join us on Discord and chat about the material and ask any questions sort of asynchronously there. I'd be happy to describe. I'll give a link to Discord in case you want to join. All right, so this is our route handler. Okay, so now we create our save it. And this does our insert. And we then do the map error in here and all that stuff. Okay, perfect. And we have our data to save. Okay. We add this to the router, and when we call it, we get the 201 response. In order to check if it really made its way into the store, let's implement the get next. We're putting this into the same file as the save it. Okay, do that. Don't forget to add this to the router. We can now call the get it, pass it the key, and retrieve the data that we stored in with the save it call. Conclusion, and that's it. We have successfully added in Redis to an Axum application and created some routes that allow us to insert and retrieve data from it. Since we put everything Redis into a module, we can pretty easily share that module with other applications that we're building without needing to constantly add Redis connections to our own applications. And that's it. Okay. I think we're good to go on a on building this out. So if I go there, let's actually open up. So there's BB8 Redis. This is the one we want. Which, of course, oh, I love that. Has no README, but if you go into the crate, it has great documentation, which is really sad because it means that you're never going to see it. If you just come here, you're going to think that this is just some no name crate that just is like, one person uses. Okay, so I want to now open. I want to create a new temp project. So let's do this. I'm going to create a new temp project from our Axum API template. Oh yeah, don't worry at all, Twisted Seed. I think it's perfectly fine. Chat is not just for me to chat with you. It's also for you to chat with each other. So I think it's okay. And chat isn't moving like too fast for me to sort of like catch new things. So if you have, so I think it's fine. It's like part of what I'm trying to build here is like good community. So I think this is part of it. Interesting. This was centered on my other screen that's smaller. I moved over here and it like moved this up here. That's a weird position. All right, so that moves there. Let's open up VS Code. Sure, I trust all of you. It's on me anyways. Sure, okay. Ooh, I want to, before I forget, turn on focus mode for another hour. I should like set up focus mode to automatically turn on. Yeah, no, I totally understand. Is my morning stream too early? So it's like it's basically no matter what, it's like the wrong times. So sorry about that. Like someday I might actually be able to well, I'm hoping someday I won't have like a day job at all. I can do like courses and streams and other things, and then I could like go with that. Morning stream. So let me the best way to share that off, if we go to twitch.tv Circer schedule. If you go here, the schedule, as long as your browser knows what time zone you're in, it should show you in your time zone when my streams are going to be. So right now we're like halfway through or so the evening stream. So the next stream is going to be 7 a.m. for me tomorrow. So in like, I don't know, almost 12 hours from now. Okay, so I want to connect to Redis. We do our connection pool. Oh, I want to set up Docker stuff for it. I have Docker running. What did I do? So you're not running. You know, I think I do. I muted the own channel for myself, so it's not really a great test anymore. There's a stream and videos channel. Okay, it looks like it's broken. I have a stream cord which is supposed to post in there every day when I'm streaming. It does on some of the other channels, and like it's very like just breaks and completely stops working on every once in a while. So I kind of like what I started doing this time was I announced on streamer mutes myself. Yeah. Um I I announce on Sunday now evening for me. So that's gonna be like in the middle of the night for you. When I'm gonna be streaming for the next week. I've basically put into my schedule that on Sunday I'm gonna spend an hour like figuring out what my schedule for the week is, and then I'll set the Twitch schedule, and then I'll announce that onto what is it called? Discord. Yes. I know words. But yeah, now that I realize that, so I was seeing the notifications come up in where is it? Rustation Station. It's still doing that for me. Like I see that StreamCord announces to me there just fine. So apparently it's not been doing that since January. Cool. Good to know that we're, 3/4 of the way through the year and just realize that it's not working. So that's nice. As yeah, I'll try to remember to announce that in Discord. And then you can mute that channel if you just don't want me to to hang out, to be notified there. And then that way I suppose you could mute the Twitch ones so it doesn't wake you up at 3 in the morning. All right, let's do Docker move Redis. Okay, this is the command that I did. So Docker run name Redis d. Okay, so daemon mode. We have port 6379, and then a version of Redis, which is the latest version that we saw the other day. So it probably still is the same version. Okay. So we'll do that. So I need to start Redis. I need to connect to Redis. I need to create oh, Chad. Welcome, Chad. And thank you so much for the 30 months. Oh my gosh, has it been that long? 30 months of subscriptions. And this is one of the times that you can actually hear it or hang out here for that. I'm surprised I didn't get a notification for that. Usually I think there's a sound that pops up, but apparently didn't hear it. But welcome, Cheddar. How you doing? Oh, you saw it on stream? Okay. I thought there was like a audio cue for it, but I guess not for subscriptions. I don't remember anymore, or maybe it's just really quiet. Yeah, not sure how it works sometimes. I remember I turned off a lot of the things, so it's like trying to be not too overwhelming. But I can see sort of like chats on it, so that's good enough. But yeah, how are you doing? Okay. Want to okay, so we do that. So things we're gonna do. We are going to good, hanging out, awesome. Cheddar is a fellow streamer also, and ex-teacher, and he does a lot of front end dev, and you've been playing around with a lot of really cool technology. So if you like to hang out with like front end type stuff, Cheddar's a good person to watch. He streams later than me usually, so just a heads up. If this is late for you, it'll be later for Ched. All right, so I want to connect to. I need to connect there. So. Oh no! Wait, did I just delete? I think I just deleted this. Did I just delete you? Oh yeah, I just totally accidentally deleted this project. Cool. Well, hold on. Gotta close you. Do that again. You stream the night before me. That is true. Yeah, okay. I'll take it. Wait, is my team winning again? I literally forgot to log in at all this week. So I didn't even check to see. So Stacking's referencing a fantasy football league that I joined. I mean, I'm clearly on top. Like I'm on top of it that much. Clearly. Sort of like the last person to fill out the roster, just letting it auto complete, not knowing what I'm doing, and just clicking random buttons every once in a while. And yeah, if it is, there'll be 3 weeks in a row. And like, even if I lose every other week, it's gonna be hilarious that at least this was the start I had. All right, let's remove this to delete, so I don't accidentally delete this. So the way that cargo temp works is that as soon as I exit this directory, if that to delete is in there, it will delete the entire project, which is what happened that time. And I wanted to close that window out so I can just have this up. And I can like move around in here inside the video if I want. So specifically, I want this. Because we're going to need this connect. I mean, this is pretty easy. So Redis manager, Redis connection manager, new, localhost 6379. Okay. I've just connected this. I don't have a username and password, but this is fine in this instance. And then we connect to it. We create a pool. I won't do the min idle to begin with. We'll just do build. It's just a single one. Okay. Okay. What do you think? You think I'm going to get it done first try? This might be the most the most stuff that I need to go through in one video. All right, so I got me. I need to turn off desktop audio. I don't have a thing for. Okay, so manually turn off desktop audio, turn off alerts, cameras on, turn off that. Okay, so I basically have the mic, camera, and me, and the Mac on. Okay. We have VS Code here and nothing else on this screen, so that's okay. And I'll pull out BB8 Redis here as needed, and I have my I have this open. Okay. Which includes the objectives. So, all right. Let's go through it. Take one. In this lesson, we're going to go over Redis and how we can connect to Redis inside of our Axum application. We have a few objectives here. So first, well, we want to be able to describe what Redis is, why we might want to use it. What is its purpose inside of an Axum application? Then after that, well, we want to be able to connect it so we can use Redis, and then we want to save and retrieve inside of Axum to Redis. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to begin with a Hello World basic app that we've already set up. We've got everything in here for us. We have basically just no route set up for us. Everything's plain and simple. So, well, first, what is Redis? Redis is is basically an in-memory database. Think it's not quite like Postgres. It's not quite like Mongo. But I guess like you could almost imagine it being a little bit tiny bit closer to Mongo than maybe anything else. It's a key value store. So you put in a key. That key is basically a string. And then a value could be an object, it could be a string, it could be an array, it could be many different things. And then it just sort of sits there in memory. Because it never goes to disk, which that's sort of a caveat asterisk, then it's super fast. Because when I request something, it just looks it up in memory and not having to go to disk, read from the disk. And even if it's an SSD, SSDs are fast, but not nearly as fast as a disk. So basically, we want to pull Redis out when we want really fast, but not persistent, because we cannot trust that our data in Redis is going to survive a reboot. It stores everything off like every minute or so, but that's not good enough. We have to assume that pretty much everything is not going to survive. So it's really good for temporary things, for fast things. So if we want to cache user credentials, if we want to cache anything about the users across different sessions. Oh, I misspoke. Okay. What did I misspeak? I know I said a couple different things, and I think I wasn't very happy with my transitions there either. So it was like, there's a couple times where like, should I just cancel the recording? And then that is like, okay, that's nail in the coffin for me. We'll do take two. Disk is not as fast as disk. Well, I mean, I guess disk is as fast as disk, isn't it? That is the wrong keyboard. I want the delete key on that keyboard. Yeah? Wait. There you go. Okay. We'll try this again. Let's actually, because it's easier. I should probably just copy over the other ones that I have. Okay. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe what Redis is, connect to Redis in an Axum application, insert and retrieve data from Redis. Also, you should kind of compare it to almost like JSON since most people can relate. That is a good point. Yes. I should also open up. Just go to Redis. Every time I almost say Redis, some part of me almost says Reddit, which is very much not the same technology. Okay. Maybe I'll start here and then we'll move over to here. Okay. Let's do take 2. Hello and welcome to this lesson on Redis in Axum. For our objectives, we're going to be focusing on what Redis is, connecting to Redis in our Axum application, and then inserting and retrieving data from Redis. Before we go any further, let's talk about what Redis is. So Redis is an in-memory document store. Think something like JSON that we can stuff into memory, but it's not inside of our Axum application. It's its own process that lives there, which is really nice because Redis, being its own thing, can be accessed by multiple Axum applications at the same exact time. This means we can scale our servers horizontally. It is a key value pair, so we can have a key, let's just say that's a string, and then the value could be any valid JSON. So it could just be a string, it could be a number, it could also be a full object or an array of objects or anything like that. There's a few more things that it can do, but those are out of scope for what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be pretty much just connecting to Redis and then using it. Really good use cases for Reddit include using it as a cache for anything user related. So a user hits our API, we want to store something about that session. It's much better to put that into Redis than it is to just store that into a variable or into the Axum state itself. We want that somewhere else. Redis is perfect for that. So let's go ahead and jump into using Redis. Oh, I'm starting off with a Hello World project that we've already set up. I've got everything going here. I just have I don't have any routes set up yet. You can see that here. We don't actually have the Hello World part, but the basic Axum server is up and running. So the first thing we need to do when connecting to Redis, well, what I like to do is create a sub module for this. So I'm not going to do any of that inside of this main project. I'm going to create a sub crate inside of this crate to handle everything about Redis. That's going to make it a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and open up our terminal. And I'm going to do, let's see, cargo new lib. Let's see, let's call this, I can't call it Redis because there's a crate called Redis and I don't want to get confused with that. So I'm just going to call this Redis Connect. That creates a Redis Connect here inside the same project. And now to let, Rust know about this, I need to go to, where is it? Cargo to toml. We're going to add a workspace. Members, and in this case, our member is Redis Connect. And then in here in dependencies, I'm going to add in a Redis Connect path equals, and I want just /Redis Connect. That way, we can now install stuff from Redis Connect and get access to it from inside of our main application. Okay, that's all and good, but Redis Connect doesn't really do anything yet. So how are we going to connect to Redis? Let's figure that out. There's a crate called Redis, which is really good, and we are going to sort of kind of use that, but not directly. We need some kind of pool. Now, when connecting to another database like Postgres, if you use something like SQLX or CORM or something like that, it comes with a pool already. Redis does not. We have to find a pool on our own. Luckily, there is a pool for us. We can use BB8 Redis. Now, don't be scared from the README not sort of showing up for this. There is actually good documentation here if we go inside of the documentation for, well, BB8 Redis. BB8 Redis is, of course, a sort of like a wrapper around BB8, which is a generic pool for, well, connections, which in this case, it's going to be a database connection pool. Their documentation is really good here. They use Tokyo, so it's going to work really well with all of our stuff. Let's go ahead and essentially just follow this to get things going. So to begin with, we're going to have our let manager equals Redis connection manager new Redis localhost. Okay, so great. Now I don't want to use the unwraps, so I'm going to instead use error to handle errors for us. So let's head back into our code here. I want to open up Redis Connect in our library. Just delete all of you. And we're going to start with a pub async function. Let's do connect. We're going to turn a result, which I want to use the result from, I don't see the one from errors. Let's pull, oh, we need to install error in this project. That is something that's really important. I don't actually have access to the modules installed in like the parent or sibling crates. So I'll have to reinstall it here. So I'm going to cd into Redis Connect and do a cargo add error. And if I wait for Rust Analyzer, now it should work. There it goes. I want that result. So right now, okay, what type are we going to return? So we have this connection. So Redis connection manager, well, it's probably going to be this pool of some kind, because we can clone the pool and then we can do stuff with that. Okay, so I think that's just going to work. We just need to know exactly what type this is. We'll come back to that. I'm going to just set that to be that for right now. So I'll just set that up to be happy, and let's. All right. This is what? Manager, and we want a Redis connection manager new. Oh, we need to install BB8, don't we? Cargo add BB8 Redis. BB8 underscore Redis. There's no features for us to worry about, so perfect. Waiting for Rust Analyzer to restart here. There it is. Okay, so I want Redis Connection Manager, I think, right? Yeah, Redis Connection Manager. I'm gonna do a new. We have to give it the URL of where we're connecting, which I believe it starts with Redis, right? Redis : // that's a URI. So let's make this a little bit smaller. Redis : // well, I don't actually have a Redis running locally, and I don't know of any like free open ones that are on the internet. So I'm going to go ahead and start one. If you do have, if you have Docker, you'll be able to install Redis yourself with docker run --name Redis. We'll do this -d for daemon mode. Make sure you set the port so it's exporting this port to the host, and I'm using Redis 7.2 here. I've already run this before previously, so it's super fast to start up. This is going to be on localhost port 6379. And I don't have a password for this one. It's just going to be open to my computer while I'm running this. Okay, perfect. What else do we need to do? That needs an unwrap. Then I can get a pool by using this BB pool builder. Okay, let's come back to here. We'll question mark you, and that gives us a Redis connection manager. So we need a pool. So this is going to be our BB8 Redis. Now we need this from BB8 itself, right? So BB8 Redis has BB8 inside of it. And we want a pool builder. And that gives us a builder unknown. And then you pass in, build, and then hand in the manager. Build, hand in that manager. Okay, that implements a future, so we'll await. That gives us a result, so question mark. And then that finally gives us a pool Redis connection manager. Perfect. Now that's a little bit of an annoying type to use. So I'm going to type alias that because I don't want to actually return just pool Redis connection manager. Let's call it like a Redis pool. So we're going to do pub type so that I can have access to type elsewhere. I'll do this called Redis pool. And that's going to be a pool Redis connection manager like that. And so our return will be a Redis pool. Okay, and we'll return you as an okay. Excellent. So that gets us set up with Connect. Let's go and head back to our main code, and we'll actually connect to Redis and put it into a centralized state for Axum. So that's going to be in our main application in library. I want to, sometime before we create the router, we want to connect to Redis. Let's do our Redis pool. It's going to be equal to, want it to be connect. So that uses Redis connect. Okay. We have to await this, and I'll question mark this. I'm already using error here everywhere, so I can just question mark that and it'll be fine. We have the Redis pool. I need a state. Okay, so let's create, I'm going to create a state out here. So AppState. I need to go into our library and make sure that we know about this. One above it. Above it. There you go. Pubmod AppState. And in the AppState, we're going to have a pub struct AppState. Inside of here, the only thing that we really care about is going to be this this connection to Redis. So we'll have this be the Redis. We'll just call it Redis, and this will, the type here will be a Redis pool. Now we grab that from Redis connect, Redis pool. The only thing that the AppState needs is to be clonable. So let's derive that. And just debug, because it's always handy just in case we need to debug that. Let's also make U public so we can get access to it if necessary. Perfect. All right, back to the main library. Okay, so we have a Redis pull. Let's create AppState. And we'll throw in Redis is the Redis pull. Okay, perfect. Now we need to use this with the with state inside of the create router. That's not set up yet, but let's just go ahead and pass in AppState. It'll yell at me for a little bit, but we'll go ahead and now switch over to our source routes mod, which is where our router is. We'll say, okay, you're going to take in an AppState, which is type AppState. And then after everything, without misspelling things, after everything, we're going to do a with state AppState. Now this state is available to everything at all. If I don't want this available to the layer, which like they don't really need it, I can put it above it. It's fine. It'll like, as long as it's below the routes that we eventually have that are going to need this to do our queries and into Redis, that's all that really matters. So talking about that, we probably want two things here. We want something to set things to insert into Redis and something to retrieve out of Redis. Let's go ahead and we can set up the basic queries in Redis first, and then let's set up the basic queries in Redis first. So I'm gonna come back over here. I'm gonna go back to Redis Connect. Inside of source, I'm gonna add a new file, and we're gonna call this queries. And in the Redis Connect live.rs, we're going to put in a mod here. This is going to be a pub mod so that these are accessible outside. So queries, and that's all we need to do at this point. And inside of here, we're going to need two of them. So let's start with the insert. So pub async function insert. All right. I am fairly certain we're going to have errors that we're going to need to worry about. Let's make this a error result. And I don't know if we're going to need to return anything at all from this. Because we are just inserting in, we just need to know that it's successful. They're going to be handing us the key. Which, talking about that, okay, that makes sense. We need the key. So let's start with that. So we need a key. This will have to be some kind of stir. Okay, perfect. We also need that Redis pool, don't we? So we need a pool. This is going to be a Redis pool. Okay. When we have this pool here, I need to get the actual connection from it. So let's do our connection. It's going to be equal to pool.get. This is an await, and we can question mark that. There we go. We have a pooled connection. We should be able to now do something with it. This tripped me up for a while. This must be mutable. This has to be a mutable connection. Otherwise, it won't allow us to do whatever we need. Even if we're getting, it needs to be a mutable connection. Okay. Well, what do we need to do? Well, we need to insert in. So let's see what we can do. So we can do connection dot is, I think it says, is it set? Is it insert? You go look it up. So let's see. Is this Redis? This is Redis example in BB8 builder. Oh, right, because it's BB8 Redis. That makes sense. Let's see. So here's a get. So pool.get. I want to do apply clone. I think I might need, let's see, I think it's either insert. It's insert actually did this before. It is, oh, it's set. Okay. It is set. Are you going to remember what this is? Do I have to? There it is. Okay. So I set it to be set. Now, once I have that, now I can import BB8 Redis async commands. Now that it knows that that's there, it's going to help us out. So let's try this again. Set. There we go. We want our key and our value. Well, the key is going to be, looks like it's a stir. Okay, so we already have that set up. And the value is going to be something. Well, we kind of need this to be set up. Let's do key value pool. So what is this type going to be? It could be a string. It could be a stir. It could be anything we want. But if we don't know what we want, if we want to handle anything at all, we're going to have to use a generic. So let's use a generic. I'm going to call it value. Generics don't have to be just a single letter long. They could be any number of letters. So we're going to initialize value here. We know that this, well, if I don't put anything in here, it's going to start yelling at us. Let's await this and question mark you. And this should now yell at me and say, okay, the trait bound value 2 Redis args is not satisfied. Perfect. Okay, so that right away tells us that we need this 2 Redis args. So I'm going to go ahead and bind this there. So if I hit save, you are, oh, can't find that. Let's go ahead and import that. Now it says, oh, it cannot be sent between threads safely. Okay, so if we want to send these through threads safely, we need to say it's 2 Redis args and it's send and sync are basically the two things that that you need to be able to send through threads. And that's it. No more errors. This should insert our value into Redis for us. Perfect. Now, we also want to get these things out too, right? So let's do a pub async function. Let's call this maybe get. We just want it by the key, right? But we need to know what the type's coming out as. So we still need a value. So value. Now this is not going to be 2 Redis args because they're not coming in. It's going to come out again. So is there a from Redis value? That's what we want. And then let's just also set this to be plus send plus sync. We need the key, which is going to be that stir. We don't need the value here, but we do need the pool. And we're going to return a result with the option, because what if what we asked for doesn't exist? And the value. Okay. These signatures are a little bit long. Let's go ahead and save that and let Rust format make it a little bit nicer for us. Okay, so first things first again, we need to get this connection. So let mute connection equals our pool. We're going to get await question mark u. That gives us a pooled connection. I should now be able to do this all in one go. So I'm just going to say okay. And inside of here, we're going to have our connection. We want to get this contains the success value. Notice here it's an enum result coming out of here. This is something weird that we're getting from the Redis crate, is that it actually doesn't properly do options for us. It's just a result. The option value is because I put that here in my result. Otherwise, it would just be an error in the case that it wasn't existing. So that option protects us a little bit. There's still other errors that could happen in the case like the connection somehow breaks or something else is going on weird and we're not able to get it. So we still need that result there. Okay, so we're going to pass the key. We're going to await, and we're going to question mark you. That should be it. Then if we have something to get out, we're going to get out. Okay, now we have our insert and our get. Perfect. We need to create route handlers to deal with this. Let's head into our router. So routes mod. We don't have anything here. So inside of routes, I'm going to create a, what should we have? Let's call this like handle Redis. We can call this file Redis. I don't know. I'm going to call it handle Redis. Handle Redis.rs, and in mod, we're going to mod this. And we're going to need two routes, one for inserting and one for retrieving. So let's see. We want a pub async function insert. And we know we're going to want the state. So we want a state. I forgot in the state we could derive from ref here, and that will let us extract out. So I want state. I want to extract out the. What is it? It's gonna be the Redis pool. So we have Redis here. It's gonna be state, and the type is a Redis pool. Okay. We also need the data, don't we? Which is gonna be some kind of JSON coming in. Let's go ahead and set that up really quickly. So we have a pub, pub struct. What is this name? This is probably gonna be like create insert into Redis, maybe. Insert into Redis. We want a pub key, which is gonna be a string, and then a pub. We want some kind, like something to throw it in there. I guess like in this case, we'll just set it to be some kind of string for this. Whatever we want to stuff in, we would obviously know what it is at this point in time. And I'm just sort of allowing somebody from the outside to store something directly into Redis, which is not usually what you use Redis for. We'll do value, and I'll just go ahead and say, hey, you're a string too. That'll be fine. This needs to derive. Let's see. Let's drive serialize. Import that and deserialize. And import that. Okay. And that way, at the very end, after the state, we can get out JSON. We want, I guess, our data. That's going to be JSON type insert into Redis. Okay, perfect. Good. Oh, can't save it yet because we're still working on this signature here. We're going to return a result. So what can possibly happen? Well, if it's good, this is going to be something we're going to impl lowercase impl into response. If it's not great, let's just return a status code and we won't tell them what happened. We'll just return a status code, which is an Axum HTTP status code. Okay, I'm going to throw a to-do in here so that way Rust format can go to town for us. All right, what are you upset about? Can I find, we need to pull in JSON here. And you're upset because type annotations needed. Oh, because it doesn't know what these are yet. Let's just say if we reach the bottom, we're going to do an OK status code created. All right, that makes you happy. So to create, what we have our Redis, we have our pool, we have a key, and we have a value. Perfect. So let's go ahead and well, I guess we'll just use that function now. So I'm going to do a insert. What is this? This was Redis Connect. We want our queries. Insert. Our key is going to be data.key. Our value is going to be data.value. And then the pool is going to be Redis itself. Okay, so we're going to await this. We get a result back, but that result is not compatible with this result. So I'm going to go ahead and map this error. All right, let's go ahead and first tracing and log this in case there is an error, or at least so we can see what the error is. Tracing error. So this was error inserting into Redis, and we will print that out. And then we said that our error is just going to be a status code. So we're just going to return an error. We don't have to do that. Just going to be a status code. We'll just do an internal server error. That allows us to, at the end of this insert, we can just do a question mark. And we're happy. All right. This allows us to now insert in. Let's do our get. Now, similar thing that we're gonna have to do. We previously needed that struct to be able to get the key and the value. When we're getting, we want to get by the key, so I need some way to get the key. Now, I don't care about the value here, and I don't want to have to do a post to get like a body to get the key. So instead, let's do a query parameter. So I just have a pub struct query params. And we're going to have a pub key, and that'll be a string. And we need this derive up here. All right, so let's go ahead and create our get. So we're gonna have a pub async function retrieve, I guess like get. We want the query. The query and the state, neither of them really matter. None of them consume the body, so we're okay. So let's get the query first. So we're gonna do query. Let's use that for extract. That'll give us the query here, and that's gonna be type query params. We also need that state. So we want our state, which I can just VS Code is nice and helpful and sort of just lets me auto complete that. I don't need anything else from this, so we're going to return the exact same thing here. It's going to be a result. I don't think it's not nice for me here. So we're going to have an impl into response and a status code. Okay, let's just start by doing we'll throw a to-do in this. So that way we can get our Rust format. Okay. We have our query and we have our state. Okay, what do we need to do? Well, we need to run our query, don't we? Let's do that. What are you upset about? Oh, right, type annotations. It'll figure it out by the time we're done with this. It'll be fine. Okay, so we want our data back first. We're going to do our let, I guess this is the data that was stored, equals. So we want our Redis connect, our queries, our get, our key. Okay, so that's in the query dot key. And then the pool is Redis. Okay, and then we await you, and I can't, again, I have to map error. And then this, okay. What are you? You are going to be, well, let's tracing log that again. Okay, so that's the error getting out of Redis. And then we're just going to have a internal server error again. And question mark you. You're good. Okay, so that does give us that option unknown, doesn't it? So I want to return what this is to our front end, which is some kind of server. So I'm going to have to tell the data what we're expecting in this case. I happen to know that this is a string, so I'm just going to say, hey, we're going to get an option with a string inside. So that'll make that a little bit happier. All right, what are you upset about now? More type annotations needed. Okay, it's okay. We'll be fine. We have this data. I want to just return this. So let's return a string as the response type and put in data. And then you're upset, found, oh, it doesn't want, let's do okay, no, it's unwrap or default. That means it'll be like an empty string if it is indeed unwrap there. You are, oh, I need you to be an okay. Okay, so okay, string, expected function, found to the structure. Use string little syntax instead. That doesn't seem, wait. Oh, it's I don't think I need to put like a string like that. Yeah, I just handed a string. It's not like any of the other extractors or responders, like, like JSON or something. I just return the string and it'll be fine. It figures out what it needs to do. Okay, that's get. So now we have our inserts and get written, but we still can't like actually test it yet. This has been a lot of code. Let's go ahead and wire these up to the router, and then we can test it with Thunder Client and make sure that it's working. So we'll code back to our router here. We have our mod. Let's go ahead and use hello Redis. We'll need get and insert. And above our app state, let's do we have a route. I guess we'll just do insert. And this will be a post to insert. And another route, a get. And this will be a get. Not that type of get. Ooh, yeah, that's not right. Can I do as handle Redis get? I'm gonna rename this get here. So that way you import you from Axum routing. So that way we know what that is. Now you are gonna be this handle Redis get, which I don't actually want to call you. I just want to reference you. There we go. That should make you happy. So now you're all wired up. Everything's running. Let's see if this runs. What's the chance this is going to run first try? Well, I don't have any errors showing to me in Rest Analyzer, so I'm actually pretty confident. We're going to do a cargo watch. I'm actually in Redis Connect. I need to be in the parent here. And see, I'm not running anywhere else. Okay, let's try this again. Install everything. Oh, we got a panicked. Address already in use. Okay, so I've got something somewhere already running for me. Let's see if I can find it. No, not okay. I think I got a zombie process. Let's just change the port that we're listening on And then we can, that should work. So I'm going to change you to 3001 here. And there we go. Okay, server running on port 3001. I'm going to go ahead, open up Thunder Client, and do a new request. It's going to first do a post to http://localhost port 3001. And then what is this? Insert. Insert. And I want to, in the body, it's going to be JSON. It's going to be key. Is going to be, let's just do hello. And let's do value of planet. Hello, planet. And if I send you, 201 created. Perfect. Okay, so that means it hit our route handler. It stored that into Redis. No errors were had, and it gave us back that 201. Okay, let's see if we can get this back. We'll do a new request again. We'll do a get. So this will be to HTTP localhost port 3001. This was, I think, a get. Query params. This is going to be key, and the key is hello. And hey, we get planet back. Perfect. And if I look for something that doesn't exist, like I want hello, then I still get a 200 okay. But so it doesn't error out. It just means that I got nothing. I got like empty, body back. So it's a none on that option. So you could basically handle that as an error, or handle that as just like, oh yeah, there wasn't anything there to cache at all. If I didn't put that option in the Redis query, it would actually give us an error as part of the result. So that option is not optional. And this is it. This is how we're able to create a Redis connection, insert things into it, and get things out to it. Let's review really quickly once again, because I know this is like a pretty dense lesson today. So first, we created a Redis Connect crate inside of our crate. So we started with a workspace, and we set that up in our cargo.toml here. In our main library, we created our connection to Redis, and we created a pool. Something important to note here. We create a single connection to Redis. This is important because if, for example, this is a multi-threaded system. If two people attempt to insert into Redis at the same time, one of them is going to have to wait for the other one to be done. That's because we only have a single, connection set up. We can change that in the builder here. Before build, we can do with min idle, the number of minimum idle things to just keep going at the same time. I can put however many my Redis will allow. 5 is easy enough for that. That's good catch there. So you are, you need to be an option. So it's gonna be a sum 5. So this way I could have 5 people connect at literally the exact same time. It will then go ahead and open up, it will use those 5 connections to insert at the same exact time or retrieve at the same exact time to and from Redis. Okay, so we handle our connections here. We also created our queries. We're using generics to be able to basically just handle whatever type of data. Now, when we do the inserts and gets in our main application, we know what type of data we're going in there. So then at that point in time, we set, okay, this is actually what we're expecting to get back. It's going to be this exact JSON. It's going to be this string. It's going to be something like that. If you always stringify everything and throw it in, it's always going to be string. And then you can just sort of deserialize that later. That's a perfectly valid way to use Redis if you want to. Okay, so we have our inserts and we have our gets. This is all fairly, it's generic, which means you can take this entire Redis Connect and put it into another project if you want it to have access to Redis. It doesn't matter if it's Axum or not. It can now just handle Redis, which is great. Back to our app. We then created an AppState, which holds that Redis pool, and we make that available inside of our routes. So we instantiate that in our main library. We pass it into our routes. We with state it, so that way that state is now available to everything above it, which are these two routes. Those routes are defined in the same route handler file, and we have our insert and we have our get. With our insert, we extract data with JSON, we get that state, and then we use that insert function to then insert the data into the database, Redis store. And get is the same exact thing in reverse. We basically say, hey, give me the key that you want, and hey, Redis, give me the value of that key, and here you go. We know that's a string because we know what you're setting in is a string, and therefore, here you go. Here's your string back. And that's it. That is what Redis is, connecting to Redis and getting stuff back from it. Hopefully this is helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next lesson. Bye. All right. Archivification. Hello. Sorry about that. I think you joined right after I started recording. So couldn't respond. But Stacking, thank you for hitting the recording button. I saw your hello planet, so I incorporated that. All right. And we got that lesson going. I think that was successful. You have one little nitpick that most people taking this course wouldn't notice. Okay, that's good. What's the nitpick? What did I miss or get wrong? I don't know if I can fix it in post, but it could be one of those things where I'll just like leave it in, and then if somebody notices it, then we'll just redo it at that point in time. A connection pool with one worker wouldn't deadlock. Well, it would if you do them both in the same route handler. Would it live lock? Yeah, so you're right, it wouldn't deadlock. It would wait. It would basically pause and then wait for thing to well, okay, the only way you get a deadlock is if the connection crashed and didn't recreate. Then the other one would be waiting forever for the connection that's never going to come because it's gone forever. So as long as it releases it from one async sort of thread, then the next thread can start using it again. We were able to get a deadlock because when we first looked at it, because we tried to grab two connections at the same time, and that's like, well, you're just sitting here waiting forever now. So yeah, you're right. It's technically really, you'd have to really work at it to get a deadlock. It would be a pause. It would just be a little tiny pause, which I think I have in the written version. So, okay, let me, we don't really care about this. This example code is going away because I have all the stuff in here, so that's fine. It's been crazy writing this whole Discord bot you made. Such a learning experience. All the commands are async and it just works like it's magic. It's been amazing how async went from really like just hard to, oh, I still don't know how it works, but it just works. And I know a tiny little bit more about how it works, but even so, like I learned like the tip of the iceberg of like what async actually is doing behind the scenes in Rust. And it's pretty amazing how easy it is to use these days. Yeah, I fully agree with you. All right, I need to rename that before I forget. That is going to be Redis. I'll just call that Redis. And it is after 7:30, so time for us to end. I'm gonna need to get ready for bed soon. So I can't stay on. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it for this. Your eyes still glaze over if anyone explains how it works under the hood. I watched the full uh um Crust of Rust on Async Await, and I got like a lot more of it. I'm sure I'd like continue to like get more if I rewatch that, but it's rough. It's rough. I'm gonna get there eventually. It just I usually work much higher in a stack, and it's perfectly fine to like not know the super interior of like that kind of stuff as long as you can use it. Uh, because these tools like they make things work just fine. When I every time I have to debug something like async await, I do learn a little bit more though. All right. So let's see. I'm good here. We're good here. Tomorrow morning I'll be back online. I'm doing morning and afternoon streams this week. So tomorrow it'll only be a morning stream. I'll be streaming at 7 a.m. Mountain Time until around 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And then continuing Wednesday through Friday, I'll be doing morning and evening streams. Sometimes you get confused on where to await, but the compiler just tells me, so it's fine, right? Yeah, absolutely. It's just like it's actually better in my mind than async await in JavaScript, because in async in JavaScript it doesn't yell at you. Like even TypeScript would be like, okay, you got a promise. Well, you want to do that with a promise? Perfectly fine. It's confusing, but okay, whatever. You're allowed to do that. And yeah, Rust here is like, what are you doing in the future? You know that's a future, right? Yeah, you should probably. Yeah, no, can't do anything with the future. Good, you go back and pin that. So yeah, or await it or something with it. All right, everybody, thanks so much for hanging out. I will see you all next time, either in the morning or not tomorrow night. Going to a meetup tomorrow night, maybe Wednesday night. So with that, have a good one and see you next time. Bye.